My name is Chris Kubbernus. My friends call me Cubby. And I'll tell you a little bit about who I am first so you understand sort of where I come from. So I'm a marketer. I'm an entrepreneur. I have my regular day job, which is I'm head of digital marketing for a software company called Norriq. And then my side hustle is I have a startup called getquire.com, which is like a social media management automation tool. And then I have another side hustle, which is I'm a digital marketing consultant on the side. And oh, thank you. So I'm doing a lot of things. So I'm not from Denmark. I'm Canadian. I've been here about 7 years. I started my career almost 20 years ago, which is insane because I started out as an intern at an advertising agency at 14. And then at 16, I started building websites at sort of the dawn of the World Wide Web, which was super funny. If anybody worked in front page, that's how far back this goes, right? Like very early. And yeah, just got super interested in the internet and marketing and digital marketing. And then so I was doing email back in like 98 to 99 when we had like open rates of like 80%. So I mean, things have obviously changed a little bit. So I remember those golden days. We're coming back a little bit. Actually, I think there's kind of a renaissance of email again, and that's probably because social media is a bit noisy and because the mobile device actually has kind of opened up a lot of opportunities for email. People have that now. They don't have to go to the desktop for email. So email is sort of still alive and kicking, which is nice to see. So when I was 18, I started my own company doing marketing for companies, building websites. It helped me sort of put myself through university. And then after university, I joined a venture capital firm, basically fixing their broken portfolio, their marketing activities. So, going basically into the portfolio companies and then fixing their marketing and stuff like that. So I've been doing this for a long time. I was on an event 3 or 4 months ago, and someone called me the veteran on the panel, and I was like, oh man, I'm getting old. But what I'm here to talk to you guys today about, actually before I start, can I get just a read on the room? Who's like a founder or is in a startup? And who's like on the finance side, like capital, finance? Okay, so it's mostly startups here. And who's more marketing? And who's more product? Oh, okay, interesting, all right. So what I'm going to talk to you guys about today is a little bit more like a holistic approach. So I'm not going to get into like a lot of data points, even though I'm like a little bit of a data nerd myself. But I'm going to talk to you guys more about sort of the more holistic stuff. And please connect with me on Twitter, on Instagram. You can email me here. I have a website that's full of great content. So go there, connect with me. I want to hear all about what you guys are up to. So I like to stay active in the community, so just find me afterwards as well, and I'll have a piece of pizza with you. So one of the first points that I want to get to is, and also Christian actually kind of put this really nicely, was about being personal or being human. And some of the guys up here today have talked a little bit about this. If they've used a personal email, name, and address, it sort of has increased their open rates and stuff. That's all fine and dandy, and I think that's great. But I think it goes a lot further than that. I think it goes more into sort of also how the tonality in the copy in your email, how you approach the customer, how you do everything around the customer, how you, even in the app, are human. I think a lot of times you get into doing the app and you sort of have notifications or you have copy within the app that sort of is very plastic and not human enough. You see actually guys like MailChimp, as we talked about today, they've been very good at sort of adding some humor, adding some personality into the app. And I think that's really important, especially for startups, because, I mean, we're up against the big guys, right, in a lot of cases. And the big guys can keep their corporate, talk. the speak without any personality. It's us that we have to sort of be a little bit more in tune with our users and sort of use the language they use. And that's one of the things that I really wanted to talk to you guys about, because I find that it can be a bit tough for us, especially maybe those in the Nordic region as well, to sort of get into being a little bit more personal in the tone and sort of be a little bit more human. We have to, like, it's sort of that, it's very, I'm from Canada, but North Americans in general, we're a little bit like, hey, what's up? You know, so we're a little bit more personal, and in the Nordic region, I mean, I love you guys a lot, so I'm not trying to insult you, but I have been here for 7 years, so there's something I like about you. But it's more of like a guarded sort of, you know, you have to get into the hygge first, you know, before the veil drops down. So I urge you completely to be more human in your communication, and that's using personal things, using tone of voice that's personal, using images that are personal, use stuff that's, you know, silly, completely weird, you know, because people are weird and silly and strange, and you have to sort of tap into that. Be a tease in your email. So this is one of the things that I've been working on lately, is that I haven't been giving away too much in the subject lines and also in the email. I've been very sort of, mysterious in a way. So a good subject line, you know, wouldn't be necessarily, you know, get 30% off or something like that, but more like, look at this awesome offer. And that's sort of gonna, you know, basically entice people to say, ooh, that's something in my brain, I need to see what that is. Or, you know, our CEO has dropped the price on X. Now that's if you're doing like a more, you know, B2C e-commerce type of thing. And in terms of, you know, if you're doing more sort of inbound marketing type of content, you could be a little bit more teasy, if that's a word, teasy, sleazy, I don't know. You can be a little bit more teasy with, say, you know, how we, for example, like if it's church management, how this church reduced or increased engagement in their church by 40%. And then in the email, don't give anything away at all, but have a big button that says find out, and it takes you to your blog. So be a tease as much as possible. This also works in social. I found when I'm doing posts on social that, you know, the headline basically doesn't say anything. It's like completely open-ended. I get way more clicks and way more engagement on it, because people, it's a human psychology thing. We just have to find out what is that this is. So I find this is a really kind of interesting insight into human psychology. Know your audience. So a lot of guys up here today talked about segmenting, and I think that's super important. I think what's more important is talking to people. I actually really like Christian's presentation, because they actually went out and booked 3 weeks out of your calendar and just talk to people. And I think that's super important. So, and in terms of audience, I mean, if somebody unsubscribes from your mail, a lot of companies will have like, why did you unsubscribe? Oh, it was too many mails or stuff. That is not going to give you the right answer. What you need to do is you need to call that person, and they're going to give you way better, more qualitative information than just, you know, okay, we've got 2% unsubscribe rate this month, or whatever the case is. If you don't know what they're doing, what they're interested in, then you won't know them that well. And I think that this will help you do so much in your app, in your content marketing, on social media, wherever you're going. This is great information to have. So even on signups as well, call them. Why did you sign up for this email newsletter or for my product? Some people are hard to get a hold of. It's kind of funny nowadays, like we're doing telemarketing at the company that I work for, and we're actually getting through to people, which is super strange, because you'd say like, who the hell is answering their phone? Like if somebody calls me, I don't answer, but it actually is sort of going the opposite way. Sort of like how email has come back, actually calling people is coming back in some weird strange way. So I really believe this, and this takes a lot. I mean, you can basically, you know, stalk your audience, find out what are they doing on social, what are they doing on these blogs, what are they doing in your product, what do they basically stalk them and know them like nobody's business. Build community. This is going to be my one of my main points here, and this goes beyond email. This goes into so much. So I find like a lot of, I know I do it as well, a lot of startups will be focused on installs, or they'll be focused on, you know, conversions, basically, like getting people to sign up, getting people to buy X. And the thing is that that's a very, you know, that's a hard sell. And if you come with too many hard sells, it's just not going to work anymore. And that's also why a lot of, you know, you see Stefan from, sorry, I forgot, Bounty, you know, any change made a difference. And that also goes along with this. If you hit them with too many hard sells, do this, call to action, buy, convert. Why aren't you using the app? It's gonna be noise. You have to think about them as an audience that you will have for a very long time. And if you think about them like that, then you start to change your strategy. So instead of, you know, necessarily coming with content about, hey, come back into the app, you're coming with content that says, hey, like for example, if I have a wine app, it's a check out the best wines from fall 2015. It's not a come back to the app and get your, you know, start rating. It's a totally different approach. It's about giving them a nice warm hug and saying, hey, you are part of us, you are in our community, and we're going to treat you like that. They might come back and then come into the app, and then they'll start saying, oh, I'm going to rate now, or I'm going to do this now. Or so it's a softer approach, and I think that's what people want. People want to interact with brands. They want to interact with stories. And this is something that I think as startups we sort of ignore because we're so focused on the product that we're not focused enough on building the audience and building the community, because the community, people will dip in and out. They won't maybe not use the app for a little while. Maybe they'll come back. Maybe they'll tell their friends. But if you build an audience like this, it just continues to grow, and you can get also, if you do content this way as well, you're getting people on the fringes as well that might not use your app today, but they'll come in from this type of content. So I think this is a really important point. Now for founders, I also believe this is a case. If you're not already building a following as a founder, you need to do this, or even as any person in the startup ecosystem. The thing is like we're not necessarily, you know, going to be all about this startup for the rest of our life. Maybe we are, maybe we're not. But if we have an interesting story to tell, as founders do as well, I mean, it's a hard game. You have a lot of insights. You can come up here and stand and talk to people, and people want to hear it. Start building that community now. Start thinking about social. Start thinking about building your own email newsletter, your own way of communicating with those people that are out there. And that'll just accelerate or amplify everything else that you're doing. Also for your app. There's a great company that I follow called Baremetrics. Does anybody know about Baremetrics? Yeah. They have a fantastic blog. Their blog is about startups. They're a startup selling, you know, metrics for apps. They're like, well, no, it's like specifically for Stripe integrations, but he's building, the CEO, he's building a community around startups, and that'll just increase his exposure, and that'll increase the exposure for his company as well. So I think it's something that you should start on right away, even if you don't have a product. I mean, when I started Choir, I didn't have any product yet. I was still building it. But what I did is I started with a social media following, got up to like, you know, 2,500 followers on Twitter pretty quick by just listening, by finding out who's into social media automation. favoriting, liking, following, all that stuff. And then when I had the app ready, here's 2,500 people that have, been following me for the past, little while. Instant communication channel. Not instant, but when the app was launched, then I had a communication channel. So I really firmly believe this. And email's great for this as well, because emails, you own it. You own that. If it's a Facebook following, or if it's a Twitter following, or if it's a whatever, you don't actually own that channel. Facebook owns it. Innovate when it comes to mail. That sort of goes also to the point of Steven from Bounty. So always be doing new things. I think that's really, really important. For example, a friend of mine has an Apple Watch, and he was getting specific email messages that were coded into the emails that were only showing up on the Apple Watch. So they were like, and then this app, this startup that sent it said, check the email in your browser or on your phone, but also check it on your Apple Watch. There's a secret message for you, because the way you could code it was enabled you to hide the message for everything else, and there's just sort of those little tweaks and sort of things that you can do to sort of innovate and be ahead of the game, and people are interested in those unique little things.
Chris, you need to speed up a little bit. I'm sorry, because
that's okay. Hack growth. Okay, so I'm going to go into a couple of growth hacking things here that I've tried that seem to work pretty good. One of the things is Twitter cards. So okay, how does this work? You can do advertising in Facebook and Twitter. I'm sure you guys are all aware of this. But you can also do what's called sort of lead gen cards. And you can basically set this up for free inside Twitter. And then every time I reply to something, I put this unique URL in for my Twitter card, and it shows up on their feed, and it looks like this. And it's basically a call to action, sign up for my newsletter. And that works like really well, right? Because everybody gets this normal like, hey, thanks for favoriting, or thanks for my retweet or whatever. Nobody does this, and that's part of that innovation sort of thing. It's sort of it's sort of they go, oh, that's cool. Okay, I'm going to sign up for that. Exclusivity. So one of the things I've done is only offer certain things to email subscribers. This is a no-brainer. I'm not teaching you guys anything new here, but this really works well for only for. This also works for app installs as well. So if you want to offer a specific seminar about a topic, or if you want to offer something unique piece of content, you can say it's only for the pro users of our app. So if you have different levels of the app, that works really well to say, okay, you can't be a free user anymore on our platform if you want to be invited to this exclusive event. That's a nice little growth hack that works quite well. Exclusivity also, to sign up for a newsletter, you have to only for newsletter subscribers is this specific, white paper, or this is more of a B2B sort of thing, but newsletters everywhere. Okay, so you can basically put links on Facebook to sign up for your newsletter. You can put them on your YouTube header. You can put basically, everything going towards your newsletter. If you want to grow a newsletter following, the best things that I've had working for me is really focusing on it. So saying, to this, this month or this, year, I'm going to focus only on newsletter subscribers. Then I strip everything out. Even on my website, I don't have even social sharing buttons sometimes, because it's all about that. The landing page into the blog can be sign up for the newsletter. Just focusing on that one target really helps to growth hack it. That's really worked well for me. And be in everybody's face. Like, I know people hate pop-ups, but they work like a motherfucker. They seriously work. I hate them, but they work. I can't, But honestly, like, you have to punch people in the face to get them to do stuff these days. And I really recommend that if you're looking for a newsletter sort of growth hack to just, crush it. So that was my deal. connect with me. Like I said, find me. Let's talk. I'd be happy to talk to you more. Thanks.